Step 2. The dispute process. Chapter 8. Closed, paid off accounts. This chapter concerns accounts that are paid off and closed. It does not pertain to open credit cards you are still using, that is in the next chapter. Also, never dispute or delete a positive account. Remember, you want your positive, paid as agreed accounts to remain on your report forever, even if they are paid off and closed, so leave those alone. Key fact: your credit report is supposed to be 100% correct, not 99% correct. Anything that is inaccurate, false, untimely, unverifiable, or incomplete is legally and ethically disputable. You can demand correction or deletion. Thus, the big question you must answer right up front is, do you want the information on the account corrected and updated, or do you want the entire account deleted altogether? Your letter must be crystal clear about what action you want them to take. If they interpret your letter as saying you're unhappy about an incorrect date or balance, then you won't be able to get the account deleted. Here's what I'm talking about. Let's say there is an old collection account that you paid off 3 years ago. Your credit report shows a balance of $2,000 owing. If you write a letter that says, "I paid off that account 3 years ago," delete it, you have made an uncorrectable mistake. They will update the balance from $2,000 to $0, and that collection will stick to your name like Gorilla Glue. You verified it was yours by stating you paid it off 3 years ago. As for your request to delete it, that will be denied. Why should they delete it when they can correct the balance so that it is reporting true and correct? If instead, your letter says, "This account is reporting falsely," delete. Now you have demanded deletion based of the law, which is your right to do. The collection gets deleted, and your score improves. It is not your obligation to tell them where they messed up. It is your right, if you choose to exercise it, to tell them to delete anything that is reporting false. For closed derogatory accounts, demand deletion, not correction. With every success you achieve, your credit profile improves. Get the ball rolling on the improvements by working on the easiest items first. But at the same time, do yourself a favor, don't go into a manic obsession watching your credit score like a Dieter stepping on the scale every day. Improve your credit profile, and in due time, your score will improve. Demand deletion, not correction. If an account contains inaccurate information, you can demand deletion of the entire account. Pay close attention to the precision of that statement. First, you are going to demand, not ask for, not request. If someone grabbed your wallet out of your hand, wouldn't you demand that they give it back? You wouldn't request the return of your wallet, you would demand it. If the credit bureau has false information on your report, you make a demand. Second, you demand for it to be deleted. I have learned that the word delete aligns with the vocabulary of the credit bureaus, therefore, it's better to say delete than remove. Third, never write that the date is wrong, because by doing so, you are confirming the account belongs on your report, and that you just want the date fixed. No! You don't want the date updated and then have the derogatory account permanently cemented to your credit file. If they correct the balance to $0, it will make it more difficult to get deleted, because now it is factually accurate. When you see there is false information reporting, you simply demand deletion. Period. Short and simple. You may be exercising your rights under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. However, if you are not an attorney or if you don't run a credit repair business, then don't quote the law code at them. Why? Because regular citizens don't know law code, so that makes your letter look like a template you got off the internet, which means you're probably trying to get rid of something that is actually valid. On the other hand, if you are an attorney or a credit repair business owner who has power of attorney for your client, then state that and use your business letterhead stationery and include a copy of the signed POA, and feel free to quote every bit of the law you desire. There is an exception, one that I personally believe is very effective. If you are in your third or fourth round of disputes, then you might need to cite the law. In that case, I suggest stating something like this: when I was researching charged off accounts, or whatever you are dealing with, I read this law, then quote it. That sounds sincere and believable. How many accounts should you dispute in one letter? If there are two accounts with false balances that are in some way related to one another, such as duplicates reporting, then list them in one letter. Or, if your credit report is almost perfect, with many years of on-time payments, but there are multiple derogatory accounts clustered around the same date, then you might choose to list those in one letter. Some pros do that, whereas others use a separate letter for each account. The imperative thing is to get results, not save a couple dollars in postage. Decide which makes the most sense for you. I do caution you not to list more than 3 accounts in one letter, because that does not look sincere and is likely to get your file flagged as frivolous. Then you'll be stuck waiting for the items to age off your report. Let's go back to the schoolroom analogy in Chapter 1. You are a teacher who has assigned detention to 2 students for unacceptable behavior. One student hands you a note that says, "Dear teacher, I love school and I always do my best work. I turn in assignments on time, and I study for tests. I am part of the student council, and I treat the other students respectfully. The claim someone made that I slugged Harvey in the stomach is false. Please delete that demerit from my student file, because my reputation and my record are very important to me." The other student hands you a note that says, "Dear teacher, I did not slug Harvey in the stomach. I did not punch Ron in the face. I did not steal Kim's backpack. I did not prank pull the fire alarm. I did not break the science beakers. Please delete all that from my record." You might believe the first student, but would you even consider believing the second student? Or would you roll your eyes and make a note that is the equivalent of the credit bureaus calling your dispute frivolous? I believe that you have a greater chance of success by disputing only one item at a time, unless the 2 items are related. When I worked for Correct Credit Company, the owner was brilliant and amazingly successful in repairing and restoring credit. He disputed one item at a time. Removing a closed credit card account with a false balance. If you have a closed credit card with a bunch of late payments, then you want to get that entire account deleted from your credit report. If you have a closed credit card with a perfect payment history or just one 30-day late payment, then leave it alone and let it remain on your report forever. One late payment, especially if it's old, doesn't dock your score much, and all the good years of paying on time helps. How can you get a closed derogatory account deleted? The key is to find something on the account that is factually false. A common error is for the account to show a balance even though the creditor sold it to a third-party collection agency. For example, if your Visa account shows as a charge-off and then it was sold to Midland Credit Management, a collection agency, then the Visa account should show a $0 balance. Visa can't accept money from you because they no longer own the account. But wait! Many people make a fatal mistake by sending a letter to the credit bureaus telling them the Visa balance is wrong. If you do, you have just acknowledged that the account is truly yours and all that needs to be done is to update the balance to 0. Now that derogatory account is stuck on your report until it ages off in 7 years from the first date of late payment. What's worse is that this update might lower your credit score by 10 to 20 to 40 points, depending on where you're at now. Instead, you tell them the account is reporting falsely, therefore, delete it. That is a true statement. It is per law. Write a letter that demands deletion with a cordial tone. Mention ordering your free report was easy to do, because that is something a professional template does not say. The letter should use the word delete, because that is the word most often used by the credit bureau's own system. The letter should sign off with "Have a nice day," which is not the standard business sign-off like "Sincerely." Alternately, you could choose another sign-off that doesn't sound like it came from a business template, such as "Kind regards," "Take care," or "Stay safe." You do not reference the specific law of the Fair Credit Reporting Act now. For the first letter, I recommend keeping the tone very cordial. By not citing the law in the first letter, it provides you with an opportunity to write something different in the second letter. The second letter cannot be a duplicate of the first letter. If you send the same letter repeatedly, your dispute will likely be flagged as frivolous and then you will be stuck until it ages off your report. Tracking number. You might choose to send the letter with a tracking number. Personally, I think it's optional for a first dispute, although a tracking number does add strength. If you can easily afford the extra expense and want to set up the best chance of first-time success, then add the tracking number. To include a tracking number, take the unsealed envelope to the post office, get the number, handwrite it on the bottom of the letter, or your post office might print a sticker you can affix, and then seal the envelope. This is the strategy used by some of the most successful credit repair businesses for their clients. The professionals either 1. Send the letter without a signature, 2. Send the letter to you to sign and mail, or 3. They have power of attorney permission from you that they include a copy of. Follow-up letter to remove a closed credit card account with a false balance. If the credit bureau fails to remove the account at your first request, then send a second letter, a different letter than the first one. Don't send the same letter twice, because that could get your file flagged for sending in nonsense. If your first letter contained 2 accounts, put only one account in the second letter. If you have more than one account with a false balance that was not removed, wait 30 days, and then write a separate letter. A good way to do this, for example, is to send the second letter regarding Visa to Equifax and the second letter regarding Banana Republic to Experian. That way you can tackle 2 accounts at the same time, but each with a different credit bureau. Follow-up letter if they failed to delete the account as requested. Notes on the follow-up letter. This letter can cite the law and state the result you expect and why. Section 611, paragraph 6 states if the consumer requests, a description of the procedure used to determine the accuracy and completeness of the information shall be provided to the consumer, including the business name, address and phone number of any furnisher contacted in connection with the information. It pushes them to remove the account if they do not provide you with the specifics. It should be less friendly and more forceful. The sign-off is a standard business letter sign-off. You could use sincerely. I would not use a light, breezy sign-off on a follow-up letter. I suggest handwriting the word urgent at the top in red. You can also circle or underline that word. It is also a good idea to send the letter with a tracking number, because it communicates that you are keeping a vigilant watch on their response. If the original credit card company did not sell the account, but either kept it with their own in-house collection department or has simply retained it, then the balance will not be $0 if you still owe them money. If the account is recent or if they are contacting you for payment, then negotiating a settlement offer might be a good choice. However, if the account will soon age off your report and no one is contacting you, then it's probably better to leave the sleeping giant alone and let it disappear on its own. Removing a closed credit card account with other false information. If your closed account properly shows a $0 balance, then the pros would look for another factual error as grounds for deletion. The ethical credit repair specialists do not lie to the credit bureaus, and neither should you. Please understand this book is not about committing perjury, it is about using strategy and methods that are legal according to federal and state law. Remember, there is no law requiring a derogatory account to remain on your report for 7 years, there is only a law limiting the number of years it shows on your report. Therefore, having one deleted sooner is legal. Any account that is inaccurate, false, unverifiable, incomplete, or outdated must be deleted. Here are possible reasons that an account may have grounds for being deleted: inaccurate reporting of the date account was opened, the date of first delinquency, or the date of closure. False reporting of a late payment. False reporting of an account that does not belong to you. Unverifiable information, such as when the collection company has closed and cannot be reached, or when the company has not responded to your letter, which you can prove because you used a tracking number or at least have a log of all your letters. Incomplete reporting due to missing account number you cannot match with what you know is yours. This can be made worse when Equifax, Experian, and TU each report different and incomplete account numbers. If each credit bureau reports a different account number, then they can't all possibly be correct. Taking a snippet or screenshot to show the discrepancy can be a good way to prove your point and demand deletion. Outdated derogatory account that is over 7 years from the date of first delinquency. Let the good accounts remain even if outdated, because they help your credit profile. Your dispute letter is not to dispute the specific fact on the account. Your letter is to dispute their right to report the account at all, since it contains a factual error. Sometimes I receive an email that says, "Before I discovered your books, I sent a letter to the credit bureau telling them to delete the collection because I paid it off. They changed the balance to $0, but they did not delete the collection. What should I do now?" This is an unfortunate situation, because if you tell them you paid off the account, you have confirmed that it belongs to you. If it were not yours, why would you have paid off the balance? Plus, your letter objected to the balance, not to the account itself. What now? Let it set for a minimum of 3 months. Work on everything else and leave this for last. Then try your luck using a Metro 2 letter or one of the code 609 letters. The older the account, the easier it will be to get deleted, with at least 2 years old being the benchmark. Hot tip. One that the pros use: in your dispute letter, include the phrase "because this is negatively impacting my ability to get a home loan," for example. Choose whatever fits, but use the word "because" and state a reason. This is working quite well for the pros. Don't be discouraged if you need to send more than one round of letters. That is normal. Persistence is a game changer. Coming up next, we'll tackle a real Goliath in the world of credit repair: late payments on an open account.